Hi there, I'm Jenny Pryor, and I'm also known as the Living Bread Baker. And what I love to do is teach people about how to bake with sourdough, particularly sourdough bread. And I'm also the author of the book, Everyday Bread Baking. Before we launch into making bread, let's demystify sourdough starters. So a sourdough starter, rather than just having the yeast part, which you find in commercial yeast at the store, it has the yeast, which is a wild variety, and also lactic acid bacteria, which is like a type of probiotic. And together, these not only raise the bread, which is really great for having fluffy bread, but they also break down that wheat so that it's more digestible in the end. Now, it's not just like the yeast that we can just buy from the store. We have to actually care for it. It's almost more like a pet than an ingredient. And the process of refreshing the starter is comprised of two parts. First, you must discard the old starter, the old batch. So discard can be either using it in a recipe, or it can be composting, but basically most of it, about 90%, is gone. The 10% that was remain of the old batch of sourdough needs to be put in a new container or needs to be fed with 60 grams of water and 6 grams of flour. And that is for one batch of bread. So if you're making more bread, you'll multiply those amounts by however many loaves of bread that you plan to make. So now after that small portion of sourdough starter has been fed, you leave it at room temperature. This will take from 6 hours on a really warm summery day up to 12 hours in winter when it's much colder, because our room temperature and our water temperature will have a big impact on how quickly our sourdough starter ferments and becomes active. After that time, you will see the volume will double and you'll see lots of bubbles. It almost looks like a marshmallow, like cream or something. It's very bubbly, and it also has a nice smell in it. Rather than smelling like raw flour, it has a fresh smell that has a little bit of a sour note to it. Also, you could do a test where you see if a tablespoon floats in water, and so that's when we know that it's ready.